Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at the Blue Note here in New York City. Over the last 4 nights, composer, pianist, as well as educator Omar Sosa has been playing with his Quarteto Afro-Cubano quartet here at the Blue Note. And what he's doing is he's focusing on his rich Cuban traditions as well as fusing the African traditions in which he studied and traveled parts of the world for the last 35 years. Tonight he's introducing a lot of the new music, and we sat down earlier and we talked about how Africa is really the root of the rhythmic patterns that he plays in his music, as well as part of jazz music, as well as talk about his origins growing up in Cuba and the different styles of Cuban music. And we also sat down and broke bread about how his piano style is really kind of carrying the rich tradition of world music, which is brought on by his predecessors, including the great Joe Zawinul and Randy Weston. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the sounds of Mr. Omar Sosa live here at the Blue Note, here on the Pace Report, here in New York City. Omar, you've done a fantastic job this week. You've packed out the house this week at the Blue Note, and you're performing with your Quarteto Afro-Cubano. Tell me about how this ensemble started, and what are some of the musical characteristics that you're trying to bring out in this ensemble?
Well, this is the new band, like the name says, the new Quarteto Afro-Cubano, and we have Ernesto Simpson on drum from Camagüey, Cuba, my hometown. We studied together in the school, and we never played together until now. He's 50, I'm 49. So we both take a different direction, and finally we meet each other. And we have Leandro Senhil in alto saxophone, flute, and soprano, and vocal from Camagüey, Cuba, my hometown. And actually, we have on bass from Maputo, Mozambique, the real Afro side, Mr. CHILDO Tomás Machanguela Jamirri, that we played for 14 years together. He's almost in half of my records. And the idea of this project is try to come back to our tradition, to the son montuno, to the cha-cha-cha, to the conga, to the Mozambique, and blend with a contemporary language. When we can put some element of classical music, some element of actually Arabic music, because I have a really strong Arabic influence. Well, my name is Omar. This is the beginning, and so far we are really happy with the result, because we already played in Japan, and mostly the time, maybe this is the time to have a packed house. In France, or mostly the time, we have a sold out concerts. But one important thing in this band is the freedom we have around when we play. We don't really want let's call it that way, perfect music. We want the street. Like we open this window, you're gonna hear. And this thing come when we arrive to our deep tradition. CHILDO with his own tradition, African tradition, when he pick up the kalimba, and Leandro when he play the flute and he starts singing about the orichas, is something that for me is really powerful, because I'm a son of a Batala, I'm a Santero, and for me it's really important to always let the people know some tradition and maybe they don't know, in a way they can digest. And with Ernesto, of course, I need to say it's a blessing, because I admire him for a long time. But we always hanging out without talking about music, because we know each other, since we have 45 years old. So we talk about his dad, his mom, how his mom do, how my family do, my sister, and now we have the opportunity to put together all the information we take back in the day in the schools, but with a little more experience, because we are in the beginning of, I don't want to say the end of our life, because when you're right to 50, something changed. And now we are really, really proud to do this thing together. We just enjoy, we just have fun. We have a good time, and we call this like a basketball team. Yeah, we pass the and sometimes we look at each other and like, you are the guy now. No, it's all about it. We are four, and it's more easy when the communication is clear and simple, to arrive to a point without a talk, without a say, without reading music, and this is what we try to do with the quartet.
Omar, you have done some things with your studying of this music. In addition to you being from Cuba, your native Cuba, you've gone and lived in Ecuador. You've gone to northern Africa and parts of Africa. And tell me how the African connect is rooted to the music of your native of Cuba.
Well, I call Cuba like a crazy son of Africa, because our tradition is, let's say, is maybe 60%. I don't want to really put percent, because this is a danger, but it's really, really, really African scene in Cuba. Our religion, the Santeria, the Abacua, the Palo Monte, this is African scene. Of course, we have a lot of Europe influence, because the Spanish people, they colonized Cuba. So, but Africa is still really, really alive. And one important thing, we don't really put attention in how big is Africa in Cuba because it's so natural. But it's normal. The clave, this is Africa, like the batati, this is Africa. But for us, is in our day by day, and actually in Cuba, a lot of people are inside of the religion in the Santeria, and because the syncretism put the Santeria with the Catholicism. So a lot of people they are in the Catholic side, but they go to the party, the African parties. So say, well, I'm the vote for la Virgen de las Mercedes, eso batalá. I'm the vote for Santa Bárbara, Chango. I the vote of San Lázaro, Babaluaye. So it's pretty much the same thing. But in Cuba, we feel this, we smell this. When you arrive to Cuba, you say, wow, this is an interesting country. It's a mixed country. With you don't really feel Africa. But as long as you go to somebody's house, you're going to feel Africa. As long as you hear the music, the Cuban music, the timba, is African drum with contemporary harmony, come from the classical and from North America, from the Black America, from the jazz. So this is the timba music is this, with our African roots. Yeah, but I can call the rumba patterns, the Mozambique, and we developed the African rhythm in our unique way, but still Africa. And what happened to me when I go to Africa, they start to speak to me sometime in their language, especially when I go to Morocco, because I call Omar, and when I arrive, my face is a little bit Arabic, or when I go to Mauritania or Ethiopia or Somalia, they say, no, I'm from Cuba. I say, you don't look you don't look Cuban. I ask, you know how the Cuban people look? They say, no. So, well, but maybe it's my energy or maybe something brought to the people, especially Morocco, to start talk to me in Arabic. And now I speak a little bit Arabic because I visit a lot of time in Morocco. I study the Ginawa music. Actually, the Ginawa is pretty much the same ceremony than our ceremony in the Santeria religion. This is why I say, okay, I'm gonna go there. When I visit another country like Sudan, or I discovered, we are in a way the same root. We come from the same sources, and we develop in a different way. But in the end, the African flag is still in Cuba and still in my heart 100%.
I want to hit on something that's very, very important to what you do to and how you interpret piano. And we talked about Africa and the rhythms, but you're taking a very percussive mode and playing it from the Cuban standpoint. Because I mean, I look at the Valdez. That's a very important name in Cuba, especially the piano. And one of your influences, Ruben Gonzalez. How do you interpret that when you're playing the piano?
Well, I consider myself a percussion player and love to play piano. But at that point of my life, I need to say I'm a piano player. But I approach the way of playing as a percussion player, like I have a drum in front of me. Because I have limitation. I never studied piano in my life. I'm an empiric guy. But I studied classical percussion. I studied percussion. I have a degree in classical percussion. So for me, why I write to the piano? I always say by accident. But now at that point of my life, I say it's no accident. Right. It's what I'm supposed to be. Because I always have the idea of try to play different kind of drum with different notes. But you have only two hands. You can play what you can play. You can play 5 congas, 6 congas, but after this, you don't be able to play 16 congas. But you can do, but it's gonna be something. But when I discovered the piano, I said, wow, this instrument have notation, but I hit this, and it depends how I hit, it's gonna come out some rhythms. So I said, whoa. When I put myself the first time in front of the piano, what I did was kakakan, kakan, kan, kakan. I said, okay, now my next step is try to figure out a way to put all these kakakan, kan, kan, kakan harmonically. So I started to study harmony. Actually, we studied harmony in the school with really good teachers. So and they give in my period when we study, they give a complementary piano. So I take a couple class. I was kind of crazy student. I need to say I don't was good student in that kind of area, because I say, well, I'm a percussion player. I put all my energy, all my effort in trying to play classical music because this was the program in the school. But when I discovered the piano, with a friend of mine, his name is Lazarito Valdez. He's the director of one famous a popular band, dance band called Bamboleo in Cuba. Yeah, we start to enjoy play together. I play marimba and vibe, and he play piano. And after that, he jumped to the marimba and vibe and play piano. And we did this since every day for almost a year. In the moment when everybody have lunch, we go to the class, because by that time we don't supposed to play popular music. If they catch us play popular music, they put out of the school. So we need to close the door and try. If we start to develop something, I say, well, I like the piano, but I have limitation because I don't have a classical training. So I start develop something and arrive in what I do now. So this is what I said again. I consider myself a percussion player. I love to play piano. I'm a conga player in a way, but I don't want to play the conga. I prefer to play the conga on the piano.
Ruben Gonzalez is one of the deans of the piano.
This is my hero. This is my teacher. Actually, I always say, Ruben gave me only one class, because my best friend, Reynaldo Perez, is an amazing flute player. He used to be the flute player of Orquesta Enrique Jorrin when Ruben Gonzalez was directing the band. And he told me one day, Omar, come to one of our rehearsals, man. Ruben, say, Ruben is there. I said, yeah, he directed the band. I said, oh man, I want to be there. This is my hero, because he was soulful. He played cool. He don't overplay. Never.
He was like Ahmad Jamal.
Yes, this is what Ahmad Jamal of our music, of our Cuban music. He never overplayed, and he was so center. He was crazy about center. And I remember I introduced myself. I said, my name is Omar Sosa. I was back in the days. My name is Omar Sosa, and well, I hope, I would like to take a class with you. And he looked at me like this. I'm going to give only one class. Play whatever you have inside. In the beginning, I said, well, I need like some technical class. But when I went out, I sit. When I went out, I sit, and I realized what he say is the most powerful and beautiful thing you can have. Because not everybody play whatever they feel inside. And this is something really, really important. After that, I try to play whatever I feel, and I develop what I call the way I play. Yeah, I believe in what I do. Why? Because this is what I can do.
Who were some of your musical influences, and how were you exposed to American jazz? Because you were saying earlier that playing American music, that was taboo, especially coming to Cuba.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I remember in the school, we have a couple moments when we create some radio in the school. And we try to find some music, search for some music, and some of the students, their father, they used to travel. Yeah, they used to travel a lot, and they bring some. There was some LP with different music like Hair, Wind and Fire, Funny All Star, Papo Luca, Oscar Peterson, and we start to present this music in the radio. We start to present this music in the radio in the school, and after we realize, oh, this is the music we want to play. So, but we always put this music between 6 in the morning and 7:30 in the morning. Why? Because at 8 we need to start in the school. And I remember I was part of this radio because it was a few people. And they said, well, today is you go to the radio. We put the radio, and when the people arrive, they always hear some music. And everything became kind of regular thing. And in the end, the school say, okay, now you can do the radio. And we start the radio little late, 7 to 8 something, but talk a little bit of time for the direction of the school accept this. This was my first contact. And I remember the first thing I listened was Oscar Peterson and Papo Luca with Funny All Star. Yeah, I remember the solo. Son las 5 de la mañana y aparece Juan Pachanga. The solo of Papo Luca there. When I listen to this solo, I say, this is what I want to play. And after that, I listen to Oscar Peterson and say, I'm never going to play like this, but at least I'm going to figure out a way what he's doing in harmony. So this was my first contact in that kind of way. But before this, in my house, with my father, he used to listen Nat King Cole every Sunday. Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa, let me know. I said, Dad, I don't know what it is, but this is heaven. I told him, well, this is American guy. His name is Nat King Cole. And when he saw I was gigging with this, he told me, I'm going to put another one, Count Basie. But I say, Dad, but I like better Nat King Cole. And it was every Sunday. So after this, it's something that comes inside of you. slowly, slowly. And when you wake up, you see you have some information inside of your body. And with Simpson, we listen the same music because we listen in my house. Every Sunday we was in my house, or if not in his house, and we grew up with this music. Of course, we grew up with traditional music too. We grew up with Fran Emilio. We grew up with Chucho, with Paquito, with Tata Wine. They used to have a really good band. It's called Los Amigos. I grew up with it, and my father used to have a really good record. It's called Piano Forte. Was a collection of Chucho, Fran Emilio, Bebo. But by that time, I don't even, I don't have idea who played. I just only enjoy the music. But this information slowly come inside of you. And maybe this is the answer of why I have this mix of sometimes classical, Latin, with Africa, because I put a focus now and study African music.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at the Blue Note here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank the talented Omar Sosa for his time, as well as the staff and management here at the Blue Note for their warm hospitality. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Till next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.